Thank you, Caroline. So you said that the Dow dropping and dropping and dropping is a period of transition. You're sure nobody here at the White House shorted the Dow?
Oof.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Karoline Leavitt getting kind of bullied in the White House briefing room today, and by Fox News' Peter Doocy of all people, he asked if anybody in the White House is shorting the Dow because Trump's unpredictable and terrible economic policy has caused a massive, massive drop in the stock market, and it's getting worse by the day. Now, Karoline Leavitt continued to get bullied after another reporter began to kind of press her on tariffs and say, what is the president doing? Why is the president playing around with everybody's 401ks? It's actually a kind of crazy clip that is currently going viral. Before we play it, check this out. USA Polling said, bro, and it's a chart that shows the change in the S&P 500 since the inauguration day of Trump's first term in blue versus his second term in that yellow/orange color. Now, during his first term, he was still riding high off of Obama's economy, so it just glides. It actually glides for his first 225 days with no problem whatsoever. But during his second term, he decided that he wants control this time. He wants to take the economic reign, but the only problem is his economic theory, quote-unquote theory, is entirely incoherent and just awful. So the stock market is currently tanking. While I'm making this video, it's dropping more and more and more, and a lot of Americans have 401ks. Not just rich Americans. It's not just the top 10%. A lot of people have 401ks tied into their work. A large portion of Americans. So this hurts everybody. This hurts a lot of people. Now, let's check out Karoline Leavitt getting rightfully pressed on this exact topic, and then we'll play a few more clips that really demonstrate the state the current White House is in. Check this one out.
You're welcome.
If we could just step back for a second. When President Trump last addressed the BRT when he was on the campaign trail, his big push was on tax cuts. He's going there today as he's proposing tax hikes in the form of tariffs. And I'm curious for why he's prioritizing that over the tax cuts.
He's actually not implementing tax hikes. Tariffs are a tax hike on foreign countries that, again, have been ripping us off. Tariffs are a tax cut for the American people. And the president is a staunch advocate of tax cuts. As you know, he campaigned on no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security benefits. He is committed to all three of those things, and he expects Congress to pass them later this year.
I'm sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have. They don't get charged on foreign companies, they get charged on the importers.
Thank you. I've always wanted somebody to just push the hell back.
And ultimately, when we have fair and balanced trade, which the American people have not seen in decades, as I said at the beginning, revenues will stay here.
It really reminds me of this photo of the North Korean news anchor that just spews propaganda. Just listen.
Wages will go up, and our country will be made wealthy again. And I think it's insulting that you're trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made.
It's insulting that she's standing up there trying to gaslight us repeatedly over and over with this propaganda, but watch, it gets better.
Kick off our briefing. Thank you.
Really appreciate you having me, Caroline. A couple of questions for you, if I may. First on the stock market. So currently it's the 25th anniversary today of the dot-com bubble crash. There's a lot of concern for a lot of Americans right now about the state of the economy. President Trump has refused to rule out a recession. Secretary Lutnick, however, has told us there will not be one. So can the White House just tell and assure Americans today that there's not going to be a recession?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. So let me start by saying that, first of all, when it comes to the stock market, the numbers that we see today, the numbers we saw yesterday, the numbers we'll see tomorrow are a snapshot of a moment in time. And as President Trump has said, and I'm here to echo the remarks of this president of this White House, we are in a period of economic transition. We are in a period of transition from the mess that was created under Joe Biden in the previous administration. Joe Biden left this country in an economic disaster.
And then she pivots back to Joe Biden. It is beyond parody, but listen to this insane question that got asked.
Good to see you.
Press Secretary, many are concerned about the validity of President Biden's official actions and also his pardons of the possible criminal actions of individuals such as his family members and Liz Cheney, as information's emerging that many of his official actions were auto-signed, possibly even the pardons and without his knowledge or consent. Does the White House have any information available currently
What is this QAnon level question being allowed in the White House? I mean, is this, I'm not trying to be offensive, are these the creators being let in and just, are they just allowed to ask anything? Karoline Leavitt is being asked if the White House will open an investigation into Biden and Liz Cheney because apparently Biden's executive orders and pardons were auto-signed without his knowledge, but it's like, dude, have you witnessed any videos of Trump signing executive orders so far? It's always Stephen Miller standing over his shoulder, reading aloud to him what he's about to sign, and then setting it down. Trump never reads it. Trump double checks. Trump is currently being puppeteered by Stephen Miller and other people from Project 2025 who just set down executive orders and he signs them. So what is this absolutely insane QAnon tier question? But it gets even worse. The new reality is we always have to listen to them yap about Canada. I mean, every time I hear this, my mouth still just drops open. Listen.
I wonder, does this administration still consider Canada to be a close ally of the United States?
Well, I think Canada is a neighbor. They are a partner. They have always been an ally. Perhaps they are becoming a competitor now. But as the president also laid out in his Truth Social post today, he believes that Canadians would benefit greatly from becoming the 51st state of the United States of America. And I actually looked into some of the research about the cost of living in Canada, and the cost of living is much higher than it is here in the United States of America. The average cost of a home in Canada is much higher. In Quebec, the highest tax rate for an income of $150,000 or more is 53.3%, more than half of Canadians' incomes they are being taxed on. So the president has made it clear that he believes Canadians would be better served economically, militarily, if they were to become the 51st state of the United States of America. Reagan.
It's still absolutely absurd. I mean, if you remember what Bush said after Trump's first inauguration, he whispered, "That was some weird shit." That's still the reaction I have every time I hear Karoline Leavitt doing this odd North Korean-esque propaganda for the White House, defending the tariffs that are quite incoherent and trying to sane-wash them, defending the posturing towards Canada that is also quite incoherent and that has no reason. I don't know why she's trying to sane-wash it. Take a look at this clip.
Secretary Rawlins put out a 5-point plan, a 4-point plan rather, to address this crisis. And she has been honest and realistic with the American people, as this administration always is. It will take about 3 to 6 months to get the egg supply back to where it should be. But she's focused, and this administration is focused on doing that every day.
Yeah, we know that Trump is a steady-handed and very rational leader, especially during times of crises, especially when shit hits the fan and there's, say, an accident with a plane crash. We know that he doesn't deflect blame and responsibility and begin to melt down in front of the cameras and turn it into a show. So I'm sure if the stock market continues to drop, Trump is not going to self-destruct as he always does during stressful times. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. Every single time shit hits the fan, or when the plane crash happened in D.C., he turns it into a show. When COVID happened, he turned it into a show. He is so terrible during times of crisis, and he's only gotten older. He hasn't gotten much younger or more rational, and you know what? I'll leave it at that. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe. I'll see you all in the next video. You can become a member below to help support the show. I love all of you, and peace out. Bye.